everybody, how's it going? Today I'm back with a very special knife. This is the Marfione Custom Combat Interceptor. And you can, Combat Troodon Interceptor, made by Anthony Marfione, serial number 2. And you can see it's got the Marfione dagger right here. It was made in February of 2017. This particular one features a full carbon fiber front scale, blue anodized hardware, thumb slide, the glass breaker, and the thumb slide as well. This has a aluminum back scale, and as I said before, this is the Interceptor blade. I don't even know where to start with this guy. The Interceptor blade style has been my favorite blade of all time since I first saw one of these. It is only on the Troodon and Combat Troodon for their out the front lineup. There is a fixed blade. The Interceptor fixed blade has the same blade style, but again, fixed blade. It's got full handle guards and a weird handle on it, but I don't think they made very many of those. So with that being said, there's only 2 styles that this comes in. They're both, they're both all Marfione customs, but I am a much bigger fan of the Combat Troodon size than the regular Troodon. And oddly enough, they're very similar in price. Maybe only $200 difference between the two of them, which is weird given how much they vary in size. The regular Troodon is maybe like this big overall. Again, we got the full carbon fiber scale, which is beautiful, very nice. The blade is a 2-tone heavy stone wash with the kind of, I wouldn't call it a flat, although I guess whatever it is, the inside part of this blade that obviously has a different texture is the 2-tone aspect. But the Interceptor blade style is unique and is one of, I already said it is my favorite because of these cool teeth, like saw teeth that go on right here. They're not functional. As you can see, I'm just running my finger along them, and while they are a little bit sharp, they probably would not cut anything if you tried. So they're purely aesthetic, but man, do they look good. The blade is otherwise a kind of a Bowie drop point with the top swedge here actually being sharpened, which I did not know was an aspect of this knife. It's not terribly sharp, I don't think. Yeah, it's a little sharp. I think it's mostly aesthetic. So, just a cool little niche thing. But this is my first Marfione custom. I love Marfione's knives. I know a lot of people think they're overrated, they're overpriced, whatever you want to say about it, but man, do they look good. I am a sucker for his customs. I love just about every single one of them, and I hope to get many more after this one. But for those of you that don't know, Anthony Marfione is the creator, founder, whatever you want to call it, of Microtech Knives, but he also has Marfione custom knives, which he, and now I think one of his sons, the other son, started Heretic Knives, but he and I think Sean Marfione, his son, they do these custom variants. They some of them they do hand grinds, they hand polish, they hand finish, whatever. So there are some custom aspects to these, but otherwise they're more mid-techs, and I say that because they are made in batches. This is not the only Combat Interceptor with a carbon fiber scale, blue hardware, 2-tone blade, whatever. There are probably a handful of these, maybe 5 per batch. This serial number 2, as you can see, so obviously there's another one. The fact that it has a serial number means that it is not a custom knife, really. So there's that. Some of the things that set the Marfione customs apart, though, is, I probably should close the blade before I do this. You can see the Marfione dagger. That is his insignia, and if I pull out, let's start with the Ultratech. Those talons, the eagle talons, are Microtech's logo. That is their main logo, and this is the Marfione logo. You can see there's like the little M going around the hilt of the dagger. What they recently started doing is having the Signature series, which is kind of a step in between the production Microtechs and the Marfione Customs. And you can see it has the same dagger with the M, but it also has an S, which is Signature. So they're kind of 3 levels now, which is, I know it's confusing, but things that set these apart is you can see that it has, well, obviously the Interceptor blade. The Interceptor blade is only on Marfione Customs. The blue accenting is amazing on this knife, and I love it. It is so well done, and it probably doesn't look as good on camera as it does in person, but just the subtle blue accents, obviously the blue hardware, which I think, yes, the hardware is also proprietary to Marfione, and you can see it's got little like circular milling in it. Hold on, let me get the focus on these. You can see that there's circular milling on the screw heads, as well as the thumb slide. The thumb slide is something I did not know. This is from 2017, which means it might just have an older slide. But with that, the slide has more steps than usual, and you can see that only half of them are anodized in this beautiful blue. And the best, let's see, give me 1 second. The best comparison I can do here is with my Scarab, and yes, they're the same. Okay, so with the Scarab, you can see that it's got a lot of steps, but they're not very aggressive. Whereas, let me put this guy off to the side. The stair steps on this are extremely aggressive, and you can see that there are many small ones there. And I don't know what it is, honestly. I don't know how to describe this in a way that is easily understandable, or that honestly I know. But it is very aggressive slide, to where I can just kind of use my thumb is not sliding off of this. I could probably do the same on the Combat Troodon. Nope, my thumb is already slipping. I cannot. Oh, okay, that hurt. Even with the new updated X pattern, which is really hurts your thumbs if you do it a lot. Even with the new updated X pattern, it's not as grippy as this. And I couldn't tell you what it is. I don't know why they do this. I don't know if this is specific to just Marfiones. I imagine it is. I have not handled a newer one, which I believe the newer ones also have the X pattern. So maybe this is just an older design, but man, it is effective. It works amazing. Super grippy, just fantastic in both the opening and retracting of the blade. The deployment is great. I love the kind of the insignia and the information on the pocket clip. I know a lot of people don't like that. I know a lot of people hate Microtech because they billboard, which basically means they put their logo and a bunch of other stuff on the blade of the knife. Like, let me bring the Scarab back out again. Big old logo, model, blade, USA made, and in the handle they also have stuff, but a lot of people hate that. And so I think what they do with the customs to make them a little more classy is to put it all on the pocket clip, which I think is a really nice touch. It kind of lets you know what you're carrying, kind of reminds you. I just think it's a neat idea. But yeah, I love this. I know I've wanted a Combat Interceptor for so long, let alone a Marfione custom, and I guess we can get into the story of how I got this guy. And the story it's not as exciting as I make it sound, but I think it was on Reddit, and this guy was trying to sell it, and he kept lowering the price because nobody wanted to buy it. And eventually, I think this was down to $750, which the retail on this is $1,100 or $1,200, I think. So that's almost like a 40% discount on a knife that, as you might have noticed, is in mint condition. There is not a single thing wrong with this knife. So I jumped on it, snatched it up, and man, was it a good choice. And I am very happy that I did. And so to speak on that, one of the other things about the Marfione knives is the packaging. The packaging on these is wild. I personally don't have a lot of experience with custom knives, not yet. I've started to dabble, and I went to Blade Show, Blade Show, they kind of show you the packaging of what you're going to get. But from what I have seen in my experience of personally and online on Reddit, Facebook, whatnot, this might be some of the nicest packaging in the custom knife world. So here, obviously with the regular Microtech, it has the sticker on the back of the, or on the kind of the butt of the box that tells you exactly what it is. Combat Troodon with the Interceptor blade, two-tone stonewash with the anodized alloy, carbon fiber top, blue hardware, serial number 2. Nothing else in the back. Just kind of a standard box. The top is this kind of checkerboard pattern is 3-dimensional. You can feel it. It's a nice texture. And then it says Marfione Custom Knives on the side. And it's magnetically sealed, which I might be just kind of overacting, but it's such a nice touch. It's got a nice insignia on the top, and then you open it up and you see this pouch. And this pouch is full nylon. Got his signature stitched in here. Has a Velcro patch with a patch plate and the dagger, which is very cool. Has a little handle. It has molly straps, which is interesting. I didn't realize that, or you know, I guess you could put this on your belt if you wanted to be a nerd. But it also has a little Marfione kind of bead on the zipper pole. And if we unzip it, you see this whole thing is lined with this weird like woolly material. It also has another Velcro patch. Comes with a microfiber baggie even in this full kind of like plush material, which is wild. And maybe the coolest thing, if I can get it out, is that the COA, the Certificate of Authenticity on this thing, is metal. It's a solid piece of metal with the dagger laser cut out and then laser engraving with all of the same information that was in the box, a little bit more detailed with the serial number and his signature MCK Marfione Custom Knives. And I think this is just wild. Like, again, I have not seen anything else on social media or elsewhere of any kind of custom knife packaging that is really close to this. The closest one that I can think of is the Holt knives. I'm gonna put the case away for now, but the Holt knives, they also have they have a nice pouch. Comes with materials and whatnot, little COA and tools and things like that. But they also used to have these huge boxes which had nice foam inserts and whatnot. I don't think they do them anymore, or there was a Blade Show thing, they just did pouches. But anyway, the Holts are the only ones that I can think of that have anything remotely close to a packaging like that. I'm, you know, like Gareth Bowl, I think he just has a little taco pouch. I think most of the South African makers just have taco pouches. I don't really know of anybody, maybe besides Koenig Knives, that has a box like that. But if we want to get back to this knife, overall length is 9.5 inches. Definitely on the bigger side, which is, if you know what a combat Troodon is, or you've ever handled one, it's huge. This guy has an M390 blade, which they have moved into, I think, CTS 204P, the carpentry steel. But given this is a 2-year-old model, or almost 3 years old actually at the making time of this video, obviously we're still in the M390 phase. So 9.5 overall, with the blade being 3.8 inches. See carbon fiber and aluminum construction with the black handle. Handle length is 5.75 inches. Fits perfectly in the hand, which, you know, for my size hands at least. And as with the Combat Troodon line, they have this nice jimping in the handles that line up with grip points for your hand. Let's see what else we got. The weight is 4.8 ounces, which is a little hefty, but the carbon fiber scale really kind of sheds that. Unfortunately, the only 2 Combat Troodons I own are carbon fiber construction, so I don't know how they compare to a normal full aluminum construction. But maybe one day I'll have one. Let's see what else. I think that's it for the real nitty-gritty specs of this guy. So why don't we do some size comparisons here. We can go with another Microtech, and more people would have an Ultratech most likely. So you can see that the Ultratech is not much smaller in handle and a little bit smaller in blade. If we line them up, blades, I don't know, maybe a quarter of an inch to half an inch difference in blade length with about an inch handle. We can move into kind of the more common knives here with the PM2 and the bug out. PM2 is going to be close in size, with the bug out being just a little bit smaller. PM2 handle length is close, with the grip area maybe kind of matching it up, but the blade length is much closer. Bug out, on the other hand, at least an inch and a half shorter blade, or excuse me, of handle length, with only about, I'd probably say half an inch, 3/4 of an inch blade difference. So interesting there. I didn't realize how close those were. And then the comparison that I want to focus on is between like a regular combat Troodon and this is the Hellhound blade, which is another awesome one. I'm glad I have kind of in my eyes, the two coolest blade styles that Microtech does. You can see that they are obviously the exact same, even in the blade length, which is interesting. I wonder if they do that on purpose. Probably, because it has to fit in the handle of the knife. So there we go, I answered my own question. This particular combat Troodon is part of the signature series. It has the acid washed or stone acid washed, I don't know, blade, Hellhound style, with I think the little bit of a bronze tint to the hardware. Nope, okay, it's just the lighting, sorry. Normal stone wash finished on the hardware here. The thing that is interesting between these two is that on the normal combat Troodons, and you can go Google any combat Troodon, and you'll see that they all have this jimping here on the show and the back scales, which obviously adds grip. It lines up with where your fingers are, where your hand grips the knife. Whereas here you can obviously see that on the Marfione, there is none. It's smooth body, which is interesting, and I'm not sure, I mean, I assume that's just a Marfione thing because this is not intended for hard use, pretty much. I'm not sure, I don't think the other Marfione custom combat Troodons have these either. I know the newer ones have full brushed aluminum handles, which look amazing, and they have the nice dagger right here, so maybe I'll get one of those soon. I'm not sure what blade, maybe a Hellhound Marfione, but anyway, not the point of this video. So yeah, two little differences here in these guys with the handles. Pocket clip and glass breaker the exact same, just with a little bit different milling style here. You can see that the Marfione has some more rings and more accents on there that they've anodized that nice blue. Pocket clips are the exact same. Actually, no, it's not true. They're not. Like that. That is interesting. That you can see here that the combat Troodon kind of has what is it called? I don't know. I would just call it a lip, maybe. A lip in this clip. A lip in the clip. An extra lip in the clip here, which kind of locks in. Kind of adds a little bit of extra security for whatever material you're slotting this into. So say you're wearing jeans and you know your jean pockets have that little top area, the seam. It's thicker than the actual pocket itself. And so what this does is it allows that seam to pop up through here, and it requires a little bit more effort to pull it out to get it back through that lip right there. So a lot of clips have these. My older Ultratech does. Just poorly designed because it's old. I'm looking through right here to see if I can find anything else that has it, but I don't see anything right now. So anyway, this guy does not have one, and I assume that's because they want this full surface area to be able to laser engrave, so you can get all the nice information in there. The pocket clip is fairly stiff actually compared to this one, although I got this one. This one's a little more used, and you can see that the clip has actually been bent a little bit to where it doesn't actually sit flush on the body of the knife, but that's just a thing with this particular knife. So, again, the retail on this guy is $1,100, and I got it for a steal at $750. So very happy about that. I'm definitely gonna be holding on to this guy for a long time. The only reason I would sell one of these is because I know that they are not unique, that there are other variations of Interceptor combat Troodons. Some of them have different blade finishes that I might like more or less, but I will probably hold on to this guy for a long time because the Interceptor is probably the first knife that I saw that I was like, holy cow, I need to have that. And I have not had the opportunity to get one in a long time. I've always oogled at them and whatnot at shows or online whenever somebody else posts one. When I got this guy, the Combat Hellhound, it scratched that itch for me a lot. But then this guy came up and I was like, oh shit, I could actually have one. So here we are in my hand. So very kind of fanboy moment for me. I know that's not what you guys watch these for, so I'll quit rambling because I think that's about all that I have. So this has been the Marfione Custom Combat Interceptor.